I'm Dr. Michelle Gross, chiropractor and co-founder of Resilient Health Strategies. Today I want to go over a few tips and tricks to make your home workstation a little more comfortable and easier to use so that it's not creating as much strain on your back, shoulders, and neck. So hopefully some of these tips will make your space more comfortable. Now, when you're at the office, hopefully they've already got things set up in a nice ergonomic way. Um, but when you transition to work at home or spend more hours at home, or even if you just have a hobby or spend a lot of time at your computer desk, it's going to be helpful to understand how to work with the space that you already have to make it more comfortable for you at home. Now, we're going to start with this setup here, which is basically our home workstation. It's not great. So if you look at the way I'm sitting here, this is just a regular chair from our kitchen table. And this is it. I mean, my feet, I'm short, so my feet don't even really hit the ground properly. My heels are lifted. The keyboard and the mouse are way up here. So it doesn't matter how I position myself, I'm going to inevitably start slouching and really having a hard time with my shoulders bunching up if I'm doing a lot of typing because I'm trying to bring my eyes to the level of the middle of the monitor where I'm seeing most of the material, and I'm trying to keep my arms up so that I have free clearance. My wrists aren't banging up against the edge here. Even if I were to get one of those nice padded wrist rests, which is great, they're really nice and comfy if you can get one of those, I'm still in an awkward position to type well. So inevitably my shoulders are going to bunch up, and that's going to put a lot of strain on my shoulders, and then this posture ends up happening. So what ideally you're going to do is if a desk is at a fixed height, if it's not a desk that can go up and down, ideally what you're going to have is a chair that can go up and down. So we do have one, and it's handy. So we usually actually will use this at the desk if one of my children hasn't stolen it, but it's still not high enough for me. You can see my feet are really not hitting the ground. So in that sense, it's too high. So we need to fix that. But it's still not high enough because my arms are still kind of having to go uphill to type. So let's just use the other chair, and I'll show you modifications using this one because not everyone's going to have a chair that will go up and down. So there are some things we want to keep in mind here. We want to keep our eyes level with kind of the middle of the monitor. We want to keep our arms down when we're typing or using our mouse, not up here. And what we're going to have to do is change the height of some things here. So either the height of the surface I'm sitting on or the height of the surface that the keyboard and the mouse are sitting on. A few household items can go a long way in helping modify your space to make it a little bit more comfortable while you're working. So I'm going to start in this situation here by raising my monitor just a little bit so that it's actually more level with my eyes. So I'm just going to use a couple of textbooks that I have laying around that I generally don't look in a whole lot, and it's going to raise my monitor just a bit. Now that might be even a little bit too high, so I can tilt it down. Actually, that might be quite comfortable for me. And the other thing you can do is just, play with it. So if you've got textbooks that maybe you can adjust it up and down, try it out at a certain level, and then adjust it again, it's like super easy to just take one out or put another one in there. Now, what I also find is that my feet, even at a low seated position, are much too far off the ground. So taking a few couch cushions or throw cushions, I just put a couple of them stacked right here, and now I've got a nice little footrest. And what I like to do as I'm working here is sometimes I'll have one foot back, so I'll just tip one foot off of the cushions and then I'll switch. And it just gives me a little bit of variation in my positioning and makes me a little less stiff and sore. But ultimately, if you're just sitting feet flat and your feet are not really comfortably flat on the ground, then you really should have something under your feet to raise your feet up, and then you can play with your positioning really nicely just to keep your legs from getting a little bit uncomfortable. Now, the one thing that I have left to do here is adjust the height of my keyboard. It's way too high for me. So if I'm going to sit here at this desk in such a low chair, then what I like to do is just take another textbook, put that right on my lap, and then there you go. And this is actually the perfect height for me to type. My wrists aren't on something, having to hold the weight of my arms, so I'm not getting a lot of pressure here. They can comfortably, the heel of my hand can very comfortably rest on the textbook, and I can type perfectly. Now, if you tend to use your keyboard more often than your mouse, then that's what I would do. If you use your mouse more than your keyboard, then just leave your keyboard up here and do your mouse work down on your lap. And this is a great way to have a really nice, comfortable arrangement for your workstation. If you find that you really easily slip into a slouched position, it may not be that you don't have things set up properly here. It may actually be the back of your chair. So pay attention to that. And if it's rounded in, so it's actually promoting a curve in your back like this, then just take a small cushion or a folded up towel and just tuck it right behind your lower back, where it's going to keep the curve in your lower back supported so that it's not kind of sinking back and giving you that round back. So if you can sit with a cushion behind your back and you feel like that just keeps you in a much more comfortably upright position, then just do that. It's a really simple fix. No matter how comfortable your workstation is, you're never going to be comfortable if you're in any one position for a long time. So if you have the luxury of being at home while you're working, then I want you to also make use of the fact that you probably have a stove timer somewhere in the house, right? So whether that's way across the other side of the house or it's just across the room, I want you to go and set that timer for 30 minutes. And then in 30 minutes, it's going to interrupt you. No matter what you're doing, you have to go get off your butt to turn that off and then set it again for another 30 minutes. Come back, get involved in what you're doing. Keep shifting your position, foot up, foot down. Maybe you want to switch your keyboard and your mouse from your lap. Oh, hi. From your lap to up here for a minute just to change your position. As long as you're not up here for too long and you're getting all bunched up, you know what? Variation in your positioning is a great thing to do, even if it's not perfect posture 100% of the time. But what you're doing by setting your stove timer is forcing yourself to get out of your seat and actually move. So when you're doing that, don't just get up and turn off the timer. Take an opportunity to have a good drink of water. Go for a walk around the house. Just go up and down the stairs for, one or two times and even slip on your shoes and just walk around your yard or your property. Go outside, just get some sun, get some fresh air if that's an option for you. Literally 2 minutes is all it takes. And then when you come back to sit at your desk, you'll have your blood circulating better. You'll have your mind clearer. You'll just feel better and you'll be able to work much more comfortably and much more effectively and efficiently with a clearer head all day long. Unless, of course, you have a cat that sits on your lap, then you're trapped. And I really have no advice for you on that. Because we all know that when you have a cat on your lap, you can't move.